no.
Good morning, California Democrats. I can't tell you how happy I am to see so many Democrats in this room, especially since just a few weeks ago, the state Republicans had their convention here. You know, I know it's hard to tell they were here, but that's because we did a little ceremonial sage burning after they left. And the contrast between our two conventions couldn't be more striking. Our party convenes to talk about protecting education, fighting for quality, decent jobs, and rebuilding our shattered economy. Their party gets together to continue their proud march towards irrelevance. Now, the contrast is striking, but that's why last November was even more striking. Last year together, we saw the storm coming. We saw the angry Tea Party rallies and felt the headwinds turning against us. So what did we do? We engaged early to remind the voters that we're the ones fighting for them, because we know that when the people vote, Democrats win, and when Democrats win, California wins. And then on Election Day, we saw that red tide coming from back east, sweeping away House seats and Senate seats all over America. And as the clock got closer to 8 p.m., the map kept getting redder. But then California came in, and we stopped that tide at the Sierras. That's right. Despite the so-called expert predictions and an avalanche of corporate cash against us, we not only defended every Democratic seat, we went on the offense. We made the fight about our values and captured a Republican Assembly seat that hadn't elected a Democrat in 40 years. We were able to accomplish all of this because of you. We won because you registered the voters. You knocked on the doors, you made the phone calls, and you believed in our candidates. And because of you, I have the honor of being the only Democratic legislative leader in the United States to actually gain seats on Election Day. Thank you. That's because of you. Now, the reality is that winning by contrast is the easy part. Governing these days is much more difficult. But you made that job easier too by passing Proposition 25 and returning democracy to Sacramento. It's so important because of the difficult work ahead for all of us. Even though we've seen hopeful signs of recovery, revenues are up, and we saw 95,000 new jobs in February, we know that for millions of Californians, the recession is still very real. And that's why this budget fight is so important. Over the past few months, the people of our state have seen a clear, unambiguous picture of what we stand for and what the Republicans stand for. Our governor proposed an honest, balanced budget with reforms to streamline government and a special election to let Californians decide for themselves whether taxes should be extended. And we were proud to stand with our governor. Now, where were the Republicans in all of this? Well, you know the truth. They were cowering in fear and terror of the ghost of Howard Jarvis. In fact, the only thing they weren't afraid of was ignoring their duty to the people of California. Their behavior was absolutely shocking, and it was clearly irresponsible. And they did it in a shameful, bad faith way. They ran out the clock with pretend negotiations, only presenting their real demands at the 11th hour. 53 of the most reactionary right-wing demands possible, including, you guessed it, still more tax cuts for huge out-of-state corporations that would increase the deficit by $4 billion. And even more galling, with all of that, they wanted more money spent in their districts. So we called their bluff. We ended negotiations. We realized that this was a classic Republican strategy, and we're seeing it play out everywhere. Look at Wisconsin. Scott Walker used the financial crisis to wage a war on working families and take away decades of workers' rights. Look at the health care debate. Last year, the Republicans said they were against cuts to Medicare to win the senior vote. And now they propose its outright elimination. Look at what happened here, where just a few days ago, Dennis Hollingsworth and Andy Pugno viciously attacked Judge Von Walker's integrity in a desperate Hail Mary attempt to continue the discrimination enshrined in Proposition 8. And look what happened in Costa Mesa. The right-wing city council, in an effort to bust the city employees union, rushed through a measure to privatize city services. And then they coldly dismissed half of their workers. A young man was so distraught at losing his job that he took his own life. And what was the Republican mayor's response to that tragedy? Let me quote him directly. He said, "I hire and fire people every day." That's what the Republican Party has become, a party of extreme, thuggish ideologues. That's why the only budget plan they claim to support is an all-cuts budget. They want a budget that will permanently end California's greatest legacy of providing equal opportunity for all of our citizens. Well, let me tell you something. We're not going to do their dirty work for them. We are not going to pass an all-cuts budget. We will not pass an all-cuts budget. That's right. Instead, we're going to hold their feet to the fire. Assembly Democrats are going to fight for revenue extensions to protect education and public safety and protect the fragile recovery so that we can create the jobs that will make this recession a thing of the past. And we're going to win this debate. 3 weeks ago, I demanded that the Republicans show the world how their fantasy math adds up by putting out their own budget proposal before midnight tonight. And instead of presenting a budget, they got on a plane and went to Texas. Now, unfortunately, they bought round-trip tickets. Now, that's why I need your help. We need to create a mountain of pressure on Republicans by going into their districts and engaging their voters. That's why the work of folks in Take Back Red California is so essential. You are fighting with them on their grounds. If you stand with us in this budget fight, the pressure you build will help us get the 2 votes we need. After all, they can't all be nihilists. Regardless, it's absolutely clear. The only permanent solution for California's problems is to elect 2/3 majority of Democrats in each house of the legislature. That work must begin today. We have the perfect opportunity. This Tuesday, there's a special election in the 4th Assembly District. In one of the deepest, darkest red districts in California, our candidate, Dennis Campanelli, is surging. That's why I need all of you to engage in this fight right now. On your way out, we're going to ask you to grab a list and start making phone calls for our candidate, because this is a fight we can win. We're going on the offense everywhere, starting in the 4th. So here's what we've got to do. First, we're going to start phoning today. Then we're going to sign up for Dem 2012. And when we are back home, we're going to register new voters. We're going to keep telling the truth about the Republicans. And we're going to fight for our values, because our values are the way forward. We're fighting for California's greatest legacy, equal opportunity for all of our citizens. If the Republicans have their way, that legacy will be lost. Now, think back. From the first moment when James Marshall looked into Sutter's Creek and saw gold, California has been known as a place where everyone can come and have their chance to succeed. That legacy has made our state a global powerhouse and an iconic place in the world. This is the moment where we must rededicate ourselves to that legacy. And then in 18 months, when the votes start rolling in on Election Day, we're going to see our values triumph once again. And we're going to see that legacy reaffirmed. This is our state, and we're going to fight like hell for it. Yeah. We have a lot of work. We have a lot of work to do, so let's get to work. Thank you. Get up.